Hey there YouTube lovers, my name is BB8 and today I am going to review Super Mario Party Jamboree. If I'm being honest about Jamboree, I did not originally plan on picking this game up at all, only because I did not have high expectations for this game after being revealed from the June Nintendo Direct, especially with how I felt about its predecessor, Super Mario Party. But the board design actually looked good, but the major problem here is that if it would support handheld mode and pro controllers or not, which I would only pick up the game on that condition. But actually picking up Jamboree, I actually did have a fun time with it, but there are a few things I want to address. But first, I'm going to recap my thoughts on both Super Mario Party and Mario Party Superstars. As I have said on the channel multiple times in the past, Super Mario Party probably has to be one of my least favorites to come out of the whole Switch library as a whole. The board design was a bit dull, lackluster and repetitive. The mini games were just okay, but the main thing that really frustrated me about this game is that you couldn't play it in handheld mode or pro controller, which means Super Mario Party was really uncomfortable to play. Mario Party Superstars though was an improvement from Super Mario Party, and while it does rely on boards and mini games from past games, it still works because it acts as a celebration for the Mario Party series as a whole, while kind of acting as a remake to the older Mario Party games, even though it doesn't include all of the boards. And if I'm being honest, I was really hoping that 2024's Mario Party game would be a Superstar sequel that was GameCube themed before the June Direct. But now that I've played Jamboree, does it live up to its marketing as the biggest Mario Party game ever? Or will this end up as the second Super Party to be crashed? You're about to find out. So, without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? For the gameplay, Super Mario Party Jamboree stays true to the classic turn-based board game structure followed by previous installments, with the exception of Mario Party 9 and Mario Party 10, where all 4 players were inside a car. A few fresh mechanics have been brought into the mix to make Jamboree feel more fresh in comparison to past installments, such as Jamboree Buddies, which will appear on the board if that character isn't played as during that session, which players need to play a Showdown minigame to obtain that character as their Jamboree Buddy for a limited amount of turns. The Showdown minigames I will talk about later in the video. Outside of Mario Party, the other modes consist of Rhythm Kitchen, Toad's Item Factory, Koopathlon, which is a 20-player mode, Paratrooper Flight School, and Bowser Kaboom Squad, which all of them were fun modes in their own way. And one major improvement made from 2018 Super Mario Party is that motion control minigames are optional now, which was one major flaw I had with Super Mario Party, is that the use of one Joy-Con was mandatory, which is one thing I didn't like about it. But in Jamboree, you can use a pro controller and play in handheld mode now, which is great to see in there. But don't forget, there are still areas where motion control minigames are mandatory, but we will get there later in the video. For the boards, the board design in Jamboree is one of the strongest aspects of the game, with each one having its own unique mechanic, which does improve on the overall experience. Jamboree has 7 boards to choose from, consisting of Mega Wiggler's Tree Party, which takes place in a forest party, with the Mega Wiggler being a gimmick, since if the Wiggler bell is used, the Wiggler will move. Rollin' Raceway is where each player has an individual car of its own that they can drive in. Thankfully, it wasn't handled like Mario Party 9 and Mario Party 10, because that's kind of one thing I really didn't like about them two. Rainbow Galleria, taking place in a shopping mall, which uses shopping style gimmicks such as a stamp rally that you can do as you go around the board, and item sales, which you can get items for cheaper if sales are happening within that turn. Goomba Lagoon, which would restrict the movement of the player depending on the height of the tide, and the volcano can explode with either giant magma rocks or golden goombas, which can grant players with coins if they bump into them. King Bowser's Keep is the final board unlocked and uses Imposter Bowser as the board's centerpiece, which, if an event space is landed on, the direction that players would go in within the center area will change. And we also have two classic boards included in the mix as well, such as Western Land from Mario Party 2, which uses a train as a hazard, which can have a major impact on players if an event space is landed on, which can cause the train to move, and if a player is on the track at that given time, they will lose coins. However, as fun as the boards are, we do have one dud in the mix, with Mario's Rainbow Castle from Mario Party on the Nintendo 64. I know, Mario's Rainbow Castle is considered a classic to many, but the reason why Mario's Rainbow Castle didn't land with me very well is because there isn't that many paths to take, and since every other board in the game has unpredictable star placement, but Mario's Rainbow Castle, on the other hand, only has one star placement on the whole board. But if I had to replace Mario's Rainbow Castle with one board, I would look into Mario Party 3, my favorite Mario Party game, and choose either Chilly Waters or Deep Blue Sea, giving us more variety with the themes. The overall board selection this time was great, even with one dud included in the mix. I still think the board design is creative, and hopefully when we get to the next Mario Party game, if it's not a GameCube era Superstar sequel, hopefully they can go back to Mario Party 3 and remake some of the boards. For the minigames and the Showdown minigames, the minigames in Super Mario Party Jamboree were well designed for the most part, working with a mix of both traditional button and stick inputs as well as motion controls. The motion control minigames this time have improved from Super Mario Party, ensuring that they are responsive, but the most frustrating part of this change is that the motion control minigames still require one Joy-Con on its own, which I could have seen some of the motion control minigames working with the motion controls of the Pro Controller and in handheld mode as well. A new feature introduced into Jamboree which really stood out to me is the Showdown minigames, with 10 characters on the roster having their own uniquely themed minigames. The 10 characters that have their own minigames consist of Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Wario, Waluigi, Yoshi, Rosalina, Donkey Kong, and Bowser Jr., with each of them having their own minigame that plays out in their own unique way. The Showdown minigame mechanic is fun, but I do think some of the minigames have flaws of their own that I would like to address. The first few I would like to address are the split screen minigames, such as Luigi's Rescue Operation, which is a solid minigame to work with, but I feel like that the order of each room could be randomized each time. Waluigi's Pinball Arcade, which is a standout to me, could have been improved by adapting to one-player multiplayer or online play by only showing the board that the player is playing with, by removing split screen entirely with the exception of local multiplayer. In fact, this does apply to all of the split screen minigames, not just Waluigi's Pinball Arcade. Yoshi's Mountain Race is the same course every time you go through it, which does make things repetitive, and Rosalina's Radical Race has the same issue as Yoshi's Mountain Race, but also has an issue regarding its motion control options, since you can only play motion controls with one Joy-Con. Like, seriously, this could have worked with both the Pro Controller and in handheld mode with motion controls, no problem. Like, if they can get it to work in Mario Kart, they could have got it to work in Rosalina's Radical Race. And the only other minigame I found flawed out of the 10 is DK's Conga Line. which does remind me a lot of Donkey Konga from the GameCube, but the major problem here is that the only one song plays, no matter how many times you play it. And that's practically it. And while I do like the Showdown minigame concept, addressing these flaws as well as introducing Showdown minigames for the rest of the roster could add more replayability into the game, especially if single player is added as an option for minigames like DK's Conga Line and Waluigi's Pinball Arcade. And finally, we come to Party Planner Trek. One thing I did not expect Jamboree to include in it before it came out is a story mode led by Kamek. This mode offers a way to play through a series of minigames while also going through 5 individual boards, all but 2 of the returning boards from Mario Party 1 and 2. This story mode behaves in a similar way to the minigame island from the original Mario Party game if you took the live system out of it. Party Planner Trek does have one major flaw, that is not having the ability to turn off motion controls for some of the minigames. And while the game does allow you to use standard controls in most minigames, but some of them in Party Planner Trek force you to use motion controls, which may not be appealing to some people. But despite this, Party Planner Trek is still fun and structured, which does bring back a feature that I really enjoyed from the 64 era of Mario Party. Super Mario Party Jamboree is a major improvement from 2018's Super Mario Party by bringing back the classic Mario Party formula while also introducing mechanics to keep the experience engaging. The board selection, while I do prefer Superstar's selection of boards, Super Mario Party Jamboree includes a great board selection, even though I feel like Mario's Rainbow Castle is the only lacking board out of all of them in the game. The controller options, including the full Pro Controller and handheld support, does address one big flaw in Super Mario Party, but some of the mini-games in it are still required to use motion controls with one Joy-Con. Kind of addresses one flaw, but keeps one flaw in there. The variety of modes to choose from, such as Koopathlon and Party Planner Trek, do add more replayability into the mix and introduces a fun twist, even if a few areas could be improved on for the next Mario Party game. But despite the flaws, Jamboree is a ton of fun, and that's why I give Super Mario Party Jamboree the Collector Perk and the Certified Bronze accolade. And overall, I give Super Mario Party Jamboree an 8 out of 10. While not the perfect Mario Party game, it still manages to make improvements to the Mario Party experience. The continued reliance on single Joy-Con motion controls for specific minigames does feel a bit unnecessary when Pro Controller and handheld mode motion controls could have been implemented for some minigames, not all, but some. And the story mode, while a welcome return from the 64 era of Mario Party, I just think making motion controls mandatory for some of the mini-games just made it a bit frustrating. But with that being said, Super Mario Party Jamboree, despite its flaws, delivers a fair Mario Party experience, while also making it a surprising addition to the Mario Party series. And if you're looking for a party game with depth, variety, and accessibility, Super Mario Party Jamboree is worth the pickup. At the end of the day, I do prefer Superstars better than Jamboree because it offers a variety of classic boards and mini-games while also allowing you to play the entire game in handheld mode. So guys, what did you think of my review of Super Mario Party Jamboree? I'm still trying to think on what BB8’s reviews I'm going to do in March. I'm probably going to go ahead and do a retro review. Probably not Wario Land 4, because I've already done it, even though I'm replaying it currently. Probably one from the 64. Like, I could explain why Mario Party 3 is my favorite. I could finally do a review for Ocarina of Time. Who knows? I could review anything in March. So, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and turn your notification bell on so you don't miss another video like this one in the future. And I will see you all in a future video. BB8 out.